Hey there, welcome back to the channel. So if someone wanted to pay you right now, would it be easy? Or would you have to send out a manual invoice? Would you have to explain your offer again to your customer? What about clarifying prices in the DMs? Or are you piecing together next steps in real time? If getting paid feels awkward, complicated, or unclear, it's not a sales problem, it's a systems problem. So let's talk about it. Sales should feel very structured. Payment should feel simple. When your back end is clean, selling becomes lighter. And because clarity builds trust, that trust converts. There's 5 layers to a payment system. So let's talk about what that looks like. The first one is offer clarity, meaning is your offer clear? Second one is the path to purchase. Third, payment simplicity. Fourth, professional experience. And then 5, revenue visibility. So let's talk about part 1, offer clarity. Before anyone pays you, they need to understand what they are buying. So that's either your service, what your service entails, or the product, what the product entails, what all comes in the box, essentially. And sales friction, when it comes to, clients paying, it usually starts here. If you can't clearly explain what your service or product is, who it's for, or what happens next, then checkout is not going to save you. You should typically have one clear core offer per page on your website. I would say, depending again on your service and what you do, or for your product base, on your page, you shouldn't have several different pay here or register here. Each page should have a clear offer with a call to action, whether again that's apply, purchase, etc. You want to have clear outcomes. So again, what should that person be expecting if they hit pay now or register here, register now? Really explaining that on your sales page. And also a clear pricing structure. If you are offering different types of payments, where maybe it's a one-time payment or payment over 3 months, or whatever you're offering, making sure that it is clear on that page before they even hit pay now. And then lastly, removing any kind of vague language. I would recommend, once you have your sales page done or a draft of it, send it to someone who maybe isn't 100% familiar about what you do and ask them, do you have questions on anything on this page? Because if they are questioning any text or content on that page, either you want to clarify that or you just want to scrap it because maybe it adds confusion rather than clarity to your offer page. Confusion is the fastest way to lose a sale. So again, I would just recommend you stick to the basics, what the product or service is, how they're going to benefit from it, who is it for, and then next step is how do they pay. All right, so let's talk about part 2, the pathway to purchase. So what happens between your client or your customer's interests and them actually paying for that service or product? There should be a defined path. There should be no improvisation. There shouldn't be any kind of you piecemealing this in real time. There should just be a structured system that everyone goes through. And, I would say you would ask yourself a couple questions, again, depending on what you're looking to do on that page. Do you want people to book a call? Are they applying for something? Or do they just purchase immediately? And each offer type, it has a different pathway, obviously. So depending on how complicated, it doesn't have to be complicated. I really would recommend that it isn't complicated. But say, for instance, if it is a service, you explain the service, like on your service page, you would explain what the service is, what they'll be getting, who's it for, and then the next steps after they purchase. And then once they hit payment, it's done. They just enter their credit card information, and then they get like a thank you email with a receipt. That's typically how you would maybe do like a service page. That's what I would recommend. If it's a product, it might be a little bit more detailed. If it's like a personalization product, or it's just a standard product that has no personalization to it, then it's a similar thing as well. You may even want to have pictures of the product itself and dimensions, things like that. But you will want to understand what it takes from the client being interested in purchasing all the way to the point where they hit purchase. All right. And then you want to reduce any unnecessary steps. When someone hits that pay now button, you shouldn't take them to another sales page. I remember I was working with a client and they were looking to streamline their website. And when I was going through and just clicking through their site, I saw they had, when I clicked on pay now for a service, they were offering a coaching service. I clicked on pay now and there was another page giving me more information about the coaching session. And I'm like, why don't you just put that information on the original page, scrap out that intermediary page? The next page, at least for me as a client and, talking about using and user interest, I would have basically thought the next page that would show up would be a credit card page. And so you want to make sure, again, clarity, expectations for the client or consumer, make it very simple for them. And I would say, again, make it simple, keep it simple. All right. And then I would also, you want to make it a direct linear line from interest to payment, because especially too, if you have all those extra steps and all those extra things involved in between those, you may lose the customer. People are so busy with different things. They may have a ton of different tabs open and they may get distracted and they may not go back because your sales page is just too long or there's too much fluff in between them deciding they want to purchase your product or your service and the actual inputting of the credit card to make the payment. So simplify all that if possible. Let's talk about next, payment simplicity. Talking about your payment page again. You want to make sure that it just feels good to pay, because people work hard for their money. And so money should just move clearly throughout your business. And what I mean by that is making sure that, again, on that home page or the payment page rather, that you have clearly displayed your prices. There is no hidden or in tiny print pricing layouts, anything like that. You've defined your payment terms. It's transparent timeline. So again, if you are offering different types of payment terms, if it's 3 months, they can pay over 3 months. Maybe even saying like, okay, you'll be charged on the 3rd of every month, or just really explaining that to people, because at least if it's on your website, because people don't read. People do not read. So you can always point back to your site and say, I'm so sorry that you feel like the payment terms were unclear, but on the site it did explain, if you're electing for a payment plan, the payment plan states that you are doing 3 monthly payments of this price on this date. So if you can make things clear like that, please do that, just so that way no one can say that you're trying to surprise them or you're overcharging them, or because people are really funny about money. It just is what it is. And so making sure there's no surprises for them, at least you can always point back. That just also covers you as well in the case of chargebacks or anything like that. And then also making sure there's easy access to receipts or confirmation. So in the previous step, I talked about mapping out the process. You do want to make sure that there is a receipt email or a confirmation email with their proof of purchase, so that way they can have that. I would really avoid, I've seen this a lot on social media especially, DM me for pricing. To me, that just feels so sketchy. I would rather just say, if it is a matter of, depending on who you are and depending on what you need, if it's a unique service that you have to maybe talk to the person to really understand what their needs are before you can give them a price, just say book a consultation call with you. That just sounds so much more professional than DM me for pricing, because more than likely I'm not going to DM you for pricing. For me, I'm just not, unless it's something that I really, really need, I guess. But to me, that just already makes me feel like you're kind of like shysty, like kind of not maybe a reputable person to do business with. So instead of saying DM me for pricing, direct them to book a 10 to 15 minute consultation call with you, if it's that type of thing. If it's just a standard price, like if it's a product and it costs $29.99, just say that. Like, there's nothing, maybe I'll get off my soapbox, but that's just so annoying to me. Like, if it's a product, why are you telling me to DM you? Just list it out. You put it on your Instagram reel. You could have put the price on there to just avoid all this back and forth and all this energy expenditure, but I'm going to leave it there. Negotiating in every conversation. Again, if it is something that is very custom or personalized to an individual, again, direct them to a booking call or something like that, so that way you can learn more about their product or their challenge, and then you can then produce a proposal and things like that. I do that a lot with my website business, and then also just, digital marketing and virtual assistant company. I ask people to book a call with me. And even in the call notes, there are some questions that I ask, just so that way I can get an understanding of what they're looking for, who they are, so I can do my due diligence as well. But then after talking with them for 15 minutes, I say, hey, give me a day or two to put together a proposal for you with all the things that we talked about. And then there's your custom pricing. But don't try and negotiate in every conversation, especially if you don't have all the details that you need to make a good faith estimate or invoice or proposal for them. And I would say also sending scattered payment links when people are saying there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with Venmo. There's nothing wrong with Cash App. But I just feel as though if I'm doing business with a reputable company, I mean, being sent to all these different links of how to pay, it just, again, it seems shysty to me. It seems very just not reputable. But also, too, if a client is trying to pay you and they're like, hey, I'm not using PayPal, I'm not using StanStore, I can Cash App you $500 right here, you do what you have to do, I guess. But I would just say, if you can keep your payment links clean and just have one singular way of receiving payments, that also helps you out for the accounting. If you're working with a bookkeeper or an accountant, that is extremely helpful to have everything in one place and not having to pull different receipts and things from different payment processors. But that is up to you. But again, I'm always on the side of keeping things as simple as possible. But it's your business. You do what you want to do. And especially if clients can only pay you a certain way, you do what you do to get the money. So just my 2 cents. All right, let's talk about part 4, and that's professional experience. So it's just a matter of, what does it feel like to buy from you? Sales is not just the revenue, it's also about the experience. After someone pays, again, do they receive confirmation immediately? Do they know what happens next? Do they feel like they're taken care of? I would say, definitely try and integrate automated confirmations. As soon as they pay, they automatically get that receipt and the confirmation email. Clear onboarding instructions. I've seen it before where people get their payment confirmation or their receipt, and then the next email will come in saying, hey, thank you so much for your purchase. Here's the next steps. Especially if it is a service-based product or program that you're doing, you definitely would want to almost basically spell out everything that you do on the sales page again, as far as what next steps looks like, whether that's booking a call with you or here's the link to access a course, etc. So making sure that they are not kind of left in the ether. They've paid, but there's nothing in there telling them how they get that service or what's next as far as their product. Okay, it takes, sending them a reminder email saying, okay, your product, it takes 3 to 4 business days to ship out. So all those things are good touch points, and that's just good customer service in general. So things to consider, again, when you're looking at your payment processing. And let's see. Let's talk about part 5, and that's the revenue visibility. And so this is the question you will ask yourself. Do you know what's really working when it comes to your payment system? If I asked you, what was your revenue last month? Or which offer performs best? Or where are most of your leads coming from? Would you know? You don't need a complex dashboard, but you do need some awareness, especially if you're looking to scale your business, or even, let's say you're looking to maybe cut back. Maybe you're offering a ton of different services and you want to know where you can maybe cut back on some of those services and double down on the ones that are selling well for you. By tracking all that information, hopefully you're using a QuickBooks, or if you're a small solopreneur, that I use Wave apps. My accountant back in the day, she recommended that to me, and I absolutely love it. Every year I'm able to go in there and see, okay, these are all the sales that I've done, all my invoices. I can see what things, my VA services doubled this year. websites maybe tripled this year. I can really see what I'm selling, what services are really popular, which ones maybe are not popular, and which ones I can drop. So all of the information is really good to have on hand with whatever payment system that you're using. So I would say definitely look into either Wave apps or something that's going to be integrated like into your product store, like if you have Shopify or something similar, that should already be built into your back end. But having that information is so important for you. And it also lets you know as well, typically, if maybe you had so many people click on your sales page and maybe they abandoned their cart, or perhaps they didn't complete the sales page, you can then also know that information as well. So you can go back and see, the sales page, I'm getting a lot of people looking at it, but no one's actually buying. And so maybe you can look at your sales page and kind of see what you can do to enhance maybe conversions on that page as well. So data is great. Data is amazing. So if you're able to capture that information, I highly, highly recommend you do that. So even just, again, tracking your monthly revenue, tracking your offer performances, understanding your conversion rates and your points, and just reviewing your numbers regularly is a good practice as a business owner or nonprofit founder. So I would say sales systems, in summary, they reduce the emotional friction because, again, when it comes to money, people act weird around that, especially hard-earned money. You're providing a product or a service, they want to make sure they're getting what they pay for. And when your systems are running efficiently and streamlined, you won't feel awkward sending out your prices. You don't hesitate in sharing your links for payment, and you don't have to negotiate from insecurity, especially from a lot of solopreneurs who are offering services. They like to lowball themselves. And my pep talk for that is to not do that, because it's going to be so hard to raise your rates as your business starts running and becoming more efficient and you're getting more clients. It's going to be very difficult to raise your rates, especially if you put them in the gutter. So charge what you believe your service is, what value you provide to your customers, and don't be afraid of that price. And then also, you don't want to chase unpaid invoices, so having a good payment processing system is so efficient for that. And it sends out helpful reminders as well to your clients. Clarity around money, it truly builds a confidence piece of it, because I think this is another place where business owners and different people who run organizations, they run into, especially if this is not their forte. If they are more focused on the marketing or maybe the product design piece, this might be a place where they are weaker, but having a stronger system in place to help you shore up that area is just less stress on you. So let's do a quick energy check or audit when it comes to your sales system. And if you're able to answer yes to any of these questions, you're in a pretty good place when it comes to your sales and payment system. So you want to ask yourself, is it easy for someone to understand your offer? Is it easy for them to say yes to your offer because you want them to be a customer? Is it easy for them to pay? If they click on your website and they click on pay now, the next page that shows up is a credit card form, and they can enter the information in and then be done. Is it easy for you then on the back end to also track your revenue and your success? And again, if any of those answers are no, or you may want to go back and just look at that and see how you can clean it up, because friction and uncertainty, it does cost money in the short term and especially in the long run. So sales should feel structured, payments should feel very simple for you, and revenue should feel visible and accessible to you when you're looking at it on the back end of your system. You don't need any aggressive tactics. You want to make sure that your clients are the best fit for what you are selling. You don't want to have pressure, and you just need clarity, containment, and just a clean system to operate within. And in the next video, we're going to talk about what happens after they say yes, and that means the delivery and fulfillment portion of the sales stack or the tech stack that you need to have within your business or nonprofit or your organization in general. And because this also will determine if they stay, they refer, or return back to you as a customer. So that these two things really tie in together. All right, so that's all I have for you today. Today's affirmation is: clarity in my systems creates confidence in my sales and ease in my revenue. If you got to this point, thank you for watching. My name is Monie, and on this channel, I talk about entrepreneurship, careers, travel, dating, and all the other things in between to help you build a life that truly fits you and your aspirations. Check out the channel page for playlists on those topics. And if you need assistance with anything in this tech stack series that we have going on, I'm more than happy to help. There's a link in the description box to talk about or to where you can connect with me to talk more about that. I make videos every day, so I will see you tomorrow. Bye.